welcome to the Promoted Podcast. I'm your host, Felicity Furey, CEO and co-founder of We Aspire. And today I'm joined again by the incredible Renee Tomlin. Gosh, I have to pause every time I think about your name, Renee, now. I'm sure I'll get the hang of it in a few more episodes. You are an incredible aerospace engineer, speaker, and aviator. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be here. I'm still trying to decide if it's Renee Wootton Tomlin or Renee Tomlin. Keen to hear from our audience. What do you recommend? What do you think? I think in my professional space, I'm still going to go with Renee Wootton Tomlin just because I want to be able to connect my past with my future and thinking about keeping my name consistent. And then tying in Tomlin as my now present / future. So yeah, tough decision. I feel like you kind of had it a bit easy, Felicity. Felicity Furey is like a meaty last name. Like that is what a strong last name. And I love Wootton. I love Tomlin. I love like actually having them together, but it's such a long last name. Who knows?
The tough decisions in life. I felt like, yeah, it's a big deal changing your name. Like I was like, of course I'll change it because Furey sounds cool. And then when I went to change it, I thought, oh my gosh, like identity, like this is me. And I did think about like people in my, I feel like this could be the whole topic of the podcast, Renee. We're going like a massive tangent. I felt like, if I'm gonna change my name, then what about people, in my professional life, will they remember me, identify me, etc. And I got married, I think I was 20, I was 28 when I got married. 10 to celebrate our 10-year wedding anniversary, and now I'm like, of course, like it's been my last name for so long now, it doesn't even like, I don't even think about it. But at the time I had received I had received, I think, the Boss Young Executive of the Year award and the Women of Influence award. And so I thought, like these awards are like tied to that and my degree and blah, 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 all those things. But it's worked out fine. I think it's a very personal choice, and I will give you no advice, Renee, because of course it's your name. It's a big deal. It's up to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, why are we here today, Felicity?
That's not the topic of today's podcast. Michael, my incredible husband, who did a great job filling in for me on this podcast while I was away, said something to me this week, which was a quote that he heard, which is a measure of success or freedom in your life is actually not being busy. And it's so interesting. I've been pondering that a lot over the last few weeks because I am so that person who wants to cram my time, get as much out of life as possible, like run around, like what they say with the head, chicken with the head cut off. Like I'm just like, go, go, go. I want to be doing things. And I have had a few months off, which has been a fantastic reset and really saying no to people. Everyone's been hugely respectful of me saying I'm taking this like sabbatical type thing, this pause, and that I can't catch up for coffee or I can't help your friend want to get into the construction industry. Like beautiful requests that come through, and people have been so respectful, which I've so welcomed and acknowledged everybody who supported me over the last few months, saying that I needed to have a bit of a break and a pause. But it has been time for reflection, like after the kind of request faded away, then people didn't reach out to me. I did think about scheduling a lot of LinkedIn posts for the last 2-3 months. And I just went, you know what, my mental health is more important than that, to actually really dedicate myself to this break. And it actually has been super hard to switch off and not be busy. Like, I think it took me a good like month to like actively wind down. And now that I'm doing a couple of things, certainly not at the volume I was doing things before, and that's very deliberate. Like I'm still having a bit of a pause. I'm just doing a bit of LinkedIn, a bit of the podcast, very minimal side of things. And it's so interesting that there's this pull of like, I feel like I should be catching up with everybody. I should, should all these shoulds. I know, I shouldn't be saying should. That's like a terrible thing to say. But there's these things in my mind of like, it's almost like I'm pre-programmed to be busy because I've just done that for so much of my life. So it's been a really interesting recalibration for me, and actually having that thought about, busyness isn't a measure of success. It's actually, how can I choose to do the things that are really important to me? And I have actually had to make some really tricky choices because I do care about a lot of things, and I have been prioritizing family, which is very important to me, but I'm actually still finding it really hard to do that. Renee,
Mm.
what are your thoughts on busyness? Do you agree? Maybe you disagree with that around that is not a measure of success. Maybe success for you is being super busy. I don't know. What's your take?
I actually posted on my Instagram, Engineer Renee, yesterday a quick blurb on balance becoming the new hustle. And it's all around what are the learnings I've had over the past year, why bringing joy into your life is really important, why earning a break shouldn't be a necessity. You should just listen to your body. Yeah, just thinking about pragmatically, how do you slow down to go fast? And I think maybe in a last podcast, a previous podcast, I've talked about how it took me until I think it was roughly 2021 was the first time in my life I sat down on the couch and learnt to enjoy it. For years, I had guilt. I wasn't moving enough. I wasn't thinking about the next thing. I wasn't keeping up with, the level of achievement that was around me. And I always placed this level of guilt and pressure on myself to keep performing. And then I reached burnout because I'd worked full time and studied full time for 2.5 years, and I just could not move anymore. And it was the first time I felt, I would say, chronic fatigue. I literally just had no motivation for anything for probably 12 months after I graduated from my flying degree. And then just over life, I've realized it sounds a bit cynical and a bit negative, but I listened to an incredible podcast by Stephen Bartlett recently, and he was interviewing a psychologist, can't remember his name, but he on this podcast was talking about human behavior and the fact that there is no purpose to life. And it was so refreshing for me because you have this highly qualified, two absolute superstars in their profession speaking about what is the point to life. And it was just a really calming reflection of like, there is no point. We all die anyway. And like, you make your value and you build your purpose however you want. And that's the beauty of life. If you reflect back on all the lives that you've changed in your 90 years on this planet, is that the thing you're going to be most proud of? Or is it the relationships that you fostered with your kids? Is it the impact that you had on your community? Like, what is it that is going to make you go, I lived a good full life? Is it traveling the world with no money in your pocket and figuring it out along the way? Like, everyone has a different definition of this. And we get so built up and stressed about status, finances, the future, flexibility, when sometimes it can just be as simple as I like spending my time in XYZ ways, so I'm going to go and do that. So I've taken the pedal off quite significantly, but you also said something to me recently, Felicity, was you've built a level of skill now in your life where a task may have taken you 10, 15 hours to do in the past, but now it takes you 1 hour because you know exactly how to scrutinize a problem, how to write it up, and how to deliver that. And I certainly feel that way as well. I don't feel like I'm always learning, and I will always put in effort to continue to build my knowledge, particularly at the moment. I'm in a new industry, sustainable aviation fuel, working for a new American company, LanzaJet. So there's huge amounts to learn. But do I put the pressure on myself to be on top of that in 2 months or 3 months? I've taken that pressure off and I do it as the time passes. And yeah, so in all, I think that I live a much more balanced life now. I really listen to my body. If I need a day on the couch, I take it on the weekends. And I really try and get like 8 hours sleep so that I can keep waking up and keep delivering on the things that mean something to me. What are your
Yes,
thoughts on that?
I do remember visiting you. I think it was the beginning of 2022, I'm going to say, in Sydney. And that was when I was doing the facilitation at the Opera House. And you were like, I'm going to sit on the couch and watch TV. And I was like, what? What? What's going on? And it was a bit like, and then, yeah, even reflecting like, wow, I don't give myself permission to watch TV or sit on the couch, or I was very, go, go, go at that time and super stressed. And
Yeah.
yeah, I remember it being quite a stressful time. It was the first time I'd spent that much time away from Winston, which was like 10 days in Sydney. And yeah, it was interesting just noticing that reflection. And I think one thing that's been interesting in this particular season that I'm going through right now has been going, I actually like I can't function unless I have this rest in place because I've been yeah, it's like it has been burnout. This my whole goal for this year was around sustainable performance. And then kind of funny where I was like, oh, it's sustainable performance. Now I need to take like 3 months doing nothing to recover
Yeah.
from I've put my body through. And that's been a really interesting journey in itself. And so I think also adding kids into the mix where I like one, genuinely want to spend time with them, and two, they're exhausting. So my previous strategy of just working really hard and putting in extra hours doesn't work. And just actually it was last week. I felt exhausted on Tuesday. We'd had Michael had been away in the UK visiting his mum because she was unwell, and then we had Winston's birthday party, and then Winston's birthday, and it just was there was a lot of different activities going on, plus like delivering a couple of things, and it was sort of the first week I'd done a couple of work related things, and I was exhausted and I was like on the couch with my laptop and Michael's like, what are you doing? Like, it's not gonna like the world's not going to end if you don't send those emails today. You can do them tomorrow. Just have a rest and enjoy the day. And I was like, oh, my God, citizenship ceremonies are done. It was like all these things in one week. And I was like, okay, like logically I can understand that's true, but I just was like, it's almost like such an automatic feeling and response in my body that I like have to do these work things because I've just it's like I've trained and programmed myself in that way. So yeah,
I agree, actually. Even this morning, I went for a walk with my dog and I felt stressed because I wasn't working, right? And I was like, this is so ridiculous. Like, why do I constantly feel at tension with my mind where I'm like, I need to look after myself. I need to get my steps. Like, that's a big thing for me every day is to move my body. And I constantly feel in tension with you need to get to work and deliver XYZ. And I know that I have the time to do that, but it's just this pressure that I feel almost every day. And so I'm trying to untrain myself to get rid of that guilt. Like that's actually my goal this year is to
work
just
guilt.
do things that make me happy and balance my work and my life
Yeah.
without feeling this burden of keep performing, keep performing.
Yeah. And one thing that's really, or two things that have really helped me. One is that, and Michael said this, he said, if you just stop and think for an hour and spend time thinking rather than doing, then maybe you'll come up with an idea that would be like 100 times faster than what you're doing. So for example, we're letting people know about Uplift, our free 1 day leadership training all across Australia. And I've sent some messages to people who I think they mentor people and their mentees would really get a lot of value out of it. So I've been messaging people and thinking about who's someone we could partner with, who's someone who's got a whole hundreds of people or thousands of people in their community that would benefit from this, where if they shared that, then it wouldn't just be like individual people, it would be a large number of people. So I think having that time to stop and think can be really powerful, whether it's like going for a swim or walking, or I've been going to my local waterfall so much. It's my go-to happy place right now, and it's only a 15-minute walk. But there's this legit amazing waterfall right near our house. Next time you come visit Renee, we're going there. It's just absolutely stunning.
I've been there with you already.
Oh, so good. Like,
You know
it's just
what? Yeah.
so good. It's just like, so yeah, such a happy place. The walk is really quick. It's not like you have to trek like hours to get to the waterfall. So very lucky to have that right in my back garden. And yeah, just actually those things really help me take that time to stop and think and come up with great ideas. And the other part that's really helped me is getting like super strategic and leverage. Like leverage is the word I just keep coming back to, where really honing in on what my strengths are, and whatever role you have, I guarantee you've got stuff that are not your strengths that you just like have to do because you have to do them, whatever your role is. And there are also some things that I know that if I do this one thing, it's super leverage. Like it could be something like having a coffee with someone who's really influential in the industry. That is very leverage. And I'm understanding more and more about myself that I'm really great with networking. I'm great with building relationships, like mentors. That's my superpower. And so they're things that come very, very easily to me. So I think also reflecting on what are the most leverage things I can do with my time, like almost like if I could only work 1% of what I worked before, what would be the things I would choose to do? Because I literally like I have limited time and brain space compared with how I did things before. But it's so helpful because like I get to work way more effectively. So I feel like it's God, I'm such an engineer. I'm like most efficient way of working, 1%. Yeah, and even like, I mean, yeah, side note, I'm totally nerding out about organizing our house right now. Like, I have a whole spreadsheet on the wall of like a roster of like when everyone's looking after our kids, and I've really taken on leading the family as a context. And yeah, I'm like, oh my God, like, and then my business brain is like, oh my God, this could be a business. I could have other parents with like, what else can I do? Like, oh my gosh, the spreadsheet, the apps, like all the anyway. So I'm like now like efficientizing, that's not even a word, like all these processes in our house. Like it's so inefficient that we do the washing this way. If I did it like this, I could really optimize. So I mean, I'm just such an efficiency nerd. So it's probably not helpful, but yeah, I'm get the most out of my housework, Renee. Sad confessions here on the Promoted Podcast.
I love that. I love that. I mean, it's been bred into you as well. This is all your qualified training that's speaking as well. We're always taught to look at process and systems, so it makes absolute sense.
Do you do that? Is it or is it just me? Are you like, how do I
Yeah,
efficiently?
I do that always. I'm always thinking about, right, if I want to do this, like for instance, a simple example would be if I want to go to the gym, do I need to pick up any groceries? Because I don't want to go out twice today. So can I go and get that now and save the trip later this week? If I cook today, can I cook enough for the rest of the week so I don't have to cook again? Like I'm constantly always thinking about how do I make things more efficient. So, and it drives my brain crazy sometimes. I'm just like, can we just, like, I watch Alex sometimes stroll around the house and he'll do something and I don't know, like he just doesn't think about optimizing things in the same way I do. So I'm like, wouldn't you do this and this at the same time? And he's like, oh, didn't even think about it. And I'm like, amazing. Like, why does my brain do this? Yeah. But
Other engineering nerds or just efficiency nerds, tell us what is your official ways of like of working in your life? Because I just it's like you can't unsee it once you know it. Once I've learned about engineering things, like I can't unsee a gutter now. I like am constantly analyzing gutters as a civil engineer, so it's just the way my brain works. So I'm going to use it for good in our house as well as my work life and be as efficient as I can. It's so sad.
yeah, absolutely. And I think the big call out here is like getting really clear on what do you like spending your time on and what's important to you, what gives you that sense of fire to get out of bed in the morning, and how do you balance that with looking after yourself, looking after any caring duties that you have, balancing things and trying to find efficiency so that you can do more of the things that you love. But certainly the call out for me is as I'm becoming older, it's my birthday today, everybody, and wiser. I think that not taking life so seriously is probably something that's really resonating with me right now. Like the work that I do is really important to me, but not putting extra pressure on it, not needing this external validation, not putting my time into many things because it makes me feel important. It's about being really clear on, I want to inspire the next generation. So I'm going to do that in this way. And I also want to do a really great job and get really knowledgeable at SAF. So I'm going to do it in this way. And I want to be a really present person in my marriage, as a friend, as a family member, and make time for my people. So they're the things that keep me sustainable, happy, and kind of balanced in my life. So and now I'm trying to do a property, portfolio and build my knowledge on a whole new area. Felicity and Michael inspired me to join a training program to think about my financial future, which I would encourage everyone to do. The sooner you get onto it, maybe the sooner you start figuring out ways that we can all become less busy. In the books I'm reading, wealth is about time. It's not about how much money you have. So how do you buy yourself time? And not be as busy. So I love that definition of wealth, and I think that that's something that we should all aspire to do is not have to work so often and be tied to our desks.
Well, yeah, it's funny because we're talking about the promoted podcast around helping you get promoted and be great when you get there. And maybe a promotion for you looks like more of that freedom, or it could be having a 4-day work week and doing the things that you really enjoy at work. And it's super interesting, actually. There was this article a few months ago that I read where young people today, or a lot of millennials, are choosing not to take on management jobs because the extra pay they get is like not that much more, maybe like 3 to 5 grand a year, but they have to take on a lot of responsibilities and people are choosing
Yeah.
not, which I think is really fascinating. I think that's
Yeah.
fascinating from a short-term versus long-term perspective. I'm not like, I feel like I would just be like, go for the promotion, get all the things, but I also really appreciate that not everyone wants to do that, and that's totally fine as well. So I think it's very, very individual, and yeah,
Yeah.
totally you how you spend that time, but I think a really important thing just to take the time to reflect on it. So hopefully this podcast today has given you something that is thought-provoking. Maybe booking in a coffee with yourself is on the cards for you. That's something I love to do at least a couple of times a week, to just take my notebook and do some journaling and reprioritize and just notice all those things that are keeping me busy that I don't want to keep me busy at all. Thanks, Renee.
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts before we wrap up today's episode?
No, I think we hope that you love this episode. Please subscribe to the podcast if you find the conversations and the topics that we deep dive on interesting and informative. And as always, we'd love to hear from you too. So tell us if you have a promotion pickle. Has something come up for you? What's the experience that you're going through right now, and how can we try and support you through another transition in your career? We're here to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and everything in between. And we're always massive supporters of you. So good luck in your promotion, in your role, and finding that balance in your life. Thanks for
And
today.
maybe your promotion could even be being promoted to being a parent. I feel like that is like a whole nother promotion journey as well that has to fit into life. Or it could be some other promotion that's important to you outside of work. We are here for all of it. Thank you for another fantastic episode, Renee. And we can't wait to have you listen to the next one. Bye for now.
Bye for now.